pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Scott, would you say the prayer for us, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Lord, we thank you for all who have come out to be a part of this meeting tonight. Lord, be with those in authority. Lord, give them your wisdom, give them your grace, and give all in attendance your blessing as well. We thank you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks. Roll call?
Scott?
Yes.
Joyce? Yep. Stan?
Yes.
Steve? Bill?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Okay, discussion and approval of the minutes. At the 7th and the 21st.
You want them together or just one?
Or better do them apart.
Okay.
Do the 7th
I'll make a
first.
motion on the first one, the 7th.
I'll second it.
Joyce?
Yep.
Rob?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay, need a motion second for the
Special meeting,
February 21st meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Scott?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Stan?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Okay, discussion and approval of the financial report. Scott, you wanna?
Yeah, I'll do the bank reconciliation for 228,217, $1,673,310.52. And the payment listing for February 2017, we spent $29,488.54.
Any questions or any more discussion? Any questions? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Joyce?
Yep.
Rob?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Joe will bring you right up here as our special guest to do your thing, so you don't have to.
Got that right. Special guest. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
love you, just remember that.
Yeah. That get any bigger discount?
It's included in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Got the family discount.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir. I walked in the back door, Mike says, "Oh my God, what are you doing here? Is it insurance time already?" Seems like it just
Yeah, it seems like it is.
flies by, and it does, you know. It's already, what, the 7th
Yeah.
of March, so. But I appreciate you taking the time, putting me on the docket for tonight. But I just wanted to just review the insurance coming up for, actually April the 1st, 17 to 18. If you wanna run through this, or, really, only changes on the vehicle, you can see number one, the 2001 Chevrolet, dump truck, that was just sold, that was being taken off. And then we added the, 2017 Ford, the dump truck, on the
There's
bottom.
4 to sign.
So that's really the only changes on the vehicle side. Next page just gives you the breakdown for the statement of values, miscellaneous equipment. John's real good on if you guys do purchase something new, he does notify us on that, so. And then the other change on the schedule, statement of values, I guess it's, you put a screen above a shelter or something, or above the, out from the water pollution
Right.
plant, John?
Oh, a building over the screener.
Screener cover building, really, that's the only change on that.
Isn't the, for the jaws at $10,000, it will be more, won't it, or?
Yeah.
We got a brand new set now, so.
I'm supposed to tell you, sorry.
Get rid of the,
We got the other ones yet too, right?
25,000. We still got the old set, they're out of service, we don't use them.
you don't use them? Okay, do you know what kind it is?
The new ones?
Yeah.
Same as the old ones.
Okay,
I can get you all the,
okay, 25? Just the jaws, no airbag system or anything, just the
Nope.
jaws? Okay, just jaws,
I'll
okay.
get you all that.
Yeah, if you can get, that'd be fantastic. Any other major equipment that was, not jumping around, but on the miscellaneous fire department? Yeah.
If you could, please. Where's that at?
Number
That's
3, second page. Actually, Bill, we got the Genesis jaws on there, 25,000.
Oh,
Number
yeah, you
7,
do.
number 11,
Yeah.
Yep.
so.
I'll put it on there twice, Joe.
So what's the top?
So the jaws, those are the old ones then?
Yeah, that's the old ones.
Okay.
They're not
Are
in
they
service.
still worth the 10,000?
No, they're not worth the 10,000. We don't have them in service. so.
Okay,
Okay.
let's get them taken off then. Equipment wise, I know it's about tractor time. You getting another new one this year or, nope? Okay. All right. And then just the buildings, we got this building here insured for 585, 681. Police station, 133,000, 818. EMS building, 32,579. Got the salt shed at 24,832. Storage building, at the complex, 20,375. Water tower, we bumped that up a couple of years ago to 552,000. Storage building on, Township Road 70, 15,281. Pump house, 24,832. Storage lifeguard, picnic tables and stuff at the park, 11,576. Equipment, building, 18,571. At the park, got a wooden shelter at 17,510. Got the white shelter house, 14,222. Black shelter house, 14,222. Bath house and shelter, 34,277. Gazebo out there, $9,400, $45. County Road 62, got a pole building at $57,093. The lab and pumps, 64,000 or 164,912. Electrical pumps out there, 126,814. The screener cover building, 10,000. 3 lift stations and 2 pumps. 8 of 21 is fencing throughout the village, 31,730, and the meadow enclosure, $4,600. I don't think you guys put up any other, besides that screener, I don't think you've done anything other than that.
Whose computer's that?
What's that?
Whose computer's that, you know? Is that
Just
mine or is
blanketed,
that?
just blanketed.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know if that
Yep.
was true. Whose it was, okay. Just
So,
checking.
you know, and I know in the past, I just wanted to, for our clarification, I know the quarry has been no swimming or anything there, correct?
Correct.
Just no swimming, I mean, they can use the park shelter houses and stuff.
Correct, correct. Signs are still posted,
Great.
no swimming and stuff, so, which is fantastic. You know, all that I ask, or all that, really, the insurance company asked is if anybody does use the park, if they're having a park, I don't know, shelter-wise, do they sign a contract if someone wants to rent a shelter? Is there a contract per se, or?
You
No,
know,
not really.
basically, they just.
More of an agreement
Yeah, it's
than a
agreement.
contract.
Okay. You know, and it, you know, yes, the body of water is there, it's not, you know, it's not fenced, it's still there, you know, so it is still a liability back to the village, so, you know, the biggest thing is just make sure the signs are posted and, you know, everyone does You know, so I know it's been a couple of years ago, they wanted, John called me for what, training, they wanted to do a water training or water rescue training or what was that?
That was Seneca County divers, wasn't it, or
I
water
don't
rescue?
remember.
Yeah.
I know it's
I
been
think so.
used for baptisms a couple times too.
And, you know, and that's a gray area there too, because if anything would happen, that would come back to the village on it, so, you know, if they do have, if they are using it, get a certificate of insurance, you know, just like you do with your road workers or what have you on that, so, or any road work or anything that's done within the village. So, premium wise, from last year to this year, we're looking at, what, $260 difference from last year to this year.
So what's the premium cost?
And this is cause we gotta take the other truck off. 25,058 total for the year, less $644 for taking the 2001 Ford off, or Chevrolet truck off. So, and then adding 2017, so.
Okay.
So 260, I didn't think that was a big difference between
No.
going from a 2001 to 2017, so. Any questions or?
No? That's good.
Okay.
Oh, improvement, so
I
we
know.
probably need to make a motion to move
Yeah,
forward
the
then.
road, yeah, because he'll want our signature,
He wants a
he'll
check.
want paid.
He wants
He
paid,
wants, he wants
Nancy.
the bag of money then. I'll make a motion, we pay for our insurance.
I'll second it.
All right.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Scott,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Anything else? You guys do have my number, questions, concerns? Definitely
Jeff.
let- Help me, that's right, so, all righty, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any public comment? Dan?
Yeah, I've got a concern about the, getting rid of the police department.
Okay.
Got a few questions. One, where did we come up with the figures? 50,000 and 88,000.
Not some figures, that ain't right, it's 55,073,
Well, whatever.
Come out from the
But
sheriff's
I'm
department.
just asking where did the
Is
figures
that-
come up?
but from the sheriff's department you're talking about?
Yes.
They came from the sheriff's department.
Okay. I'm doing some checking into that. But anyway, two, why would we go get rid of the people that we have that's already trained? Like Melissa and, you know, we got the equipment. Now we're gonna have the sheriff come in. What guarantees do we have that he's gonna be here, or somebody from his department? They got vacation time coming, they got sick time, whatever. The thing of it is, what happens if a few of his road deputies call in, we have nobody here in the village now. So we're still gonna have, no, wait a minute, let me finish.
Well, no, go ahead.
So then we're gonna have the same thing, we're not gonna have a police or any kind of law here. All right?
Okay.
Now, my concern is, you know, we have the department now. Why can't we do some other cut someplace else? Like check into people's insurance? How much do they pay for insurance? If any out of their checks? Cut back on our spending for certain items? You know, there's a lot of other cuts that we can do here, you know, to keep the police department and keep the village safe. Other than, you know, going with the sheriff's department, we're already paying the county tax for being represented for the sheriff, right? You know, we're in Seneca County Sheriff. So then if we go now and do it again, aren't we paying them double? The same service that we already paid for with our tax money? Okay? Then another thing I'd like to know, I'd like to get some information on is, what did we get out of the truck that we sold and who bought it? And how
That'll be
many-
brought up at regular time.
Well, I'm
Okay.
just saying.
But I mean, that'll be
How many
brought up
bids,
tonight.
how many bids did we have and things like that? I'd
That's
like to
okay.
get that
We'll-
too.
We'll tell that.
Other than that, that's it.
Okay, okay, thank you. Anybody Anybody, any other public comment? Scott?
I guess this is where I'm supposed to speak up. I'm here representing Chuck Hall with Reflection Ministries. He couldn't be here tonight, he had to go to school. So, wanted to let the village know we were able to get about 340 batteries passed out on Friday for smoke detectors. Went real well, a lot of positive comments in person and on Facebook. And I know we don't work with Facebook necessarily, but we had good comments there as well. Next thing we have coming up would be the National Day of Prayer. That's Thursday, May 4th. It's nationally declared by the president. We're gonna be participating. We're probably through the day, we'll have a couple of people sitting out front. Anybody's interested, we'll have Bibles to give away. We're not shoving the people or anything like that, but we'll be there praying for the nation and state and local and county and state representatives as well, so.
What day is that again, please?
That's Thursday, May 4th.
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions or they wanna join us, feel free. Thank you.
Good, thanks, Scott. Anybody else?
No, go ahead. Ladies
Okay, my name is Kim Frazier, I live at 106 Hill Street. There is one question that I'm very curious about, from the audit, from the management letter. It states there is no water meter reading ordinance. That's not true. And I wanna know why that was put in the management letter.
No. I'm not so sure what you're talking about, that there was no, what, that, you saying what now?
In a management letter from the audit, it states in that management letter that there is no ordinance on water meter reading, and there is.
There, is there, John?
Not to my knowledge.
In the audit, in that management letter,
Not to my knowledge, do we have a water meter reading ordinance?
I brought it in and showed you.
Not for meter reading, no.
Yes, there is. Oh, well, I'll let them hear what,
We'll investigate and see what it is. So.
Yeah, we'll see, Kim.
okay.
Okay. Well,
I want to thank you all for doing a hard, good, solid job and doing your best that you can, first of all. All right, I do appreciate you. We may not all agree all the time, but I want to thank you. Could you give that back to those guys down there, by the way, here? You know what the blue card is. I don't go down there anymore.
down to Legion.
Okay. As far as the police department is concerned, everybody's read or heard me say what I have to say, and I'm not gonna bring anything new up that we don't already know. But there have been issues that people have brought up, or I've talked to, and I try to talk to you guys when I see you, but often we're all busy. Stan's probably heard the most, and I'd love to see what he came up with. He's talked about it, and so on and so forth, and he's taken some good ideas down. I think that having to remove myself from a situation similar to this, because I've had surgeries here recently, because I can't exactly go forward in what I was doing previous to in that field, I still have an basic understanding that although the gentleman here does have a valid point, 30 hours for $53,000 is not exactly the greatest way to go. But you guys, they were bringing up Sycamore again. The person that did know how to do something like that was the police chief for Sycamore, and he could literally run it. I don't know, was it 60,000 was the last budget? He was the one that was able to pull that off. I didn't always agree with him either, but he was my boss, and we did well together. But we need to be able to find something to keep something for us here, even if it's 80 hours a month, because that is community driven. It's community based. To get the people and the officers together, that's my priority. I don't necessarily agree with how everything is done, one department for the next, but I think that being here, we definitely need something for us so that we have some kind of say, because if we push it off to them, it's not gonna be what we have to say, because Gary, honestly, you're gonna be calling over there asking 1,000 questions, and sometimes you do have a hard time getting through to the sheriff, and getting answers for what you want, and along the rest of the members of the council. So, it's kinda like, I would prefer to look at how Bloomdale may be doing it, and some of the stuff in Sycamore is doing it, and being able to come together. My apologies, I couldn't make it the last time, like I said, I did have surgery. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate you guys taking the time out today, okay?
Okay, thank you, Will.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
First time talking to you guys. I want it to be known that my opinion is stated that of myself, not any relations or anything of that. You guys have had a lot of veration done through comments on Facebook about the choices you've made, down from cutting trees to deciding on this matter at hand. You should know there are tons of citizens out there that are supportive of any decision you make. There are citizens out there who stay off of the community events page and the Facebook pages because of the comments and suggestions made by those who may not fully understand the situation or who are not participating in these events. I have attended a few of these myself. Truthfully, at the end of the day, you guys will decide something that is for the best for the community, not for yourself and for your followers or people who believe you know best. You guys would make the decision that is best for us. As a young person in this community, a young representative here, I truly believe it would be in our best interest to move to having the sheriff. Mostly because they have resources for the heroin epidemic we have. Just across the street from my house at Union Street, we had a death from heroin overdoses. We need the resources now to help those who are addicted, and I truly, firmly believe that our police department could do it, and that the sheriff could do it. And I do not see a negative side effect to either decision that is made, whether it is to go with the sheriff or whether it is to go with the police department. And I just really want you all to know that whatever decision you make, despite the backlash you'll see, whichever way you go, there are supporters in your community behind you. They're just quiet because sometimes the louder, harsher voices are just too hard to fight against. I am not one of those people. I am one of those people who are very resilient in what I believe, firmly, and I truly believe you guys are doing your best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to see our police stay in our town. There's kids growing up in this town that are little, and they need guidance. The parents aren't there because the parents are either on drugs and they can't help their children. There's people in this town that knows what goes on and they ignore the little kids. I've seen little kids, I worked with little kids. It's sad to see what little kids come from, the home life and stuff. We do need the cops here, because they're here. I'd like to see more in our town than what we do have, but we do need the cops here to protect our kids and the citizens. I mean, I'm getting older. I mean, when I was young, I thought, well, we don't need cops. Yeah, we do need cops. The older you get, you do rely on your cops and stuff for our town, and I do wish we can keep them. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I say, I'd like to know if we could have another special meeting for this purpose of discussing about the police officers and have it in the paper that that's all we're gonna discuss, and have the citizens know that they can come to the meeting and put their input into it. You know, not just come here to say.
That's what the 21st of February
Well,
was,
it
and
didn't say
none of
that.
it showed up.
But it didn't say that in the paper, it just said to have a special meeting. And a couple people I talked up to the post office says, well, I went to a special meeting before, we wasn't allowed to speak. So I'm just asking if we could do that way. I've called the sheriff's department twice now, and they're supposed to get back with me later on in the week. I'm gonna get some ideas from them and see what we can do. Maybe to, negotiate some way to keep the police officers in our town, our village, whatever. You know, it's a serious thing here. I'm afraid if we get the sheriff's department in, not saying anything bad about the sheriff's department, but like what I say, is when they call in sick, or they're on vacation, or something comes up, they're shorthanded, does that mean we're gonna be shorthanded here? you know, we have a lot of things going on lately in Betsville here that, you know, is.
A lot of things going on everywhere, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying though,
Yeah.
just recently here, using that for an example, you know, so we should do something. You know, John, he's out doing his job and stuff, you know, what happens if, he needs help all of a sudden, or, you know, sees something going on? Wait for the sheriff to show up, or, you know? But that's my, you know, opinion,
Okay.
but I'm just asking if maybe we can have a special meeting where everybody could, you know, and then put it in the paper that you can come and speak on behalf of the, situation that we have going on here. I couldn't make last time because I was doing my taxes, so.
Okay,
Anyway, that's all I got to say, thank you.
okay.
You, Gary,
Yes, Karen.
obviously, I put in a good, many years volunteering for this community. So my heart is here. Shortly after I moved into this town, we had a police department here. Yet I waited 45 minutes for sheriff to come from 45 minutes away. Lights and sirens coming because someone was breaking in my door. On the receiving end, you don't want to be a female waiting 45 minutes for help. It was rather nice when we had an officer from Burgoon, lived up from the road. We had McKinney here in town, several good officers. And I'm not saying that those officers are gonna be around 24/7. But me waiting 45 minutes when someone lives within an earshot of here, you know, I don't think that having a sheriff's department come in from the other side of Attica, lights and sirens, taking 45 minutes. So fast forward that to a couple of years ago, I had a church computer on my possession, walked my dog around the block. Still, when I came back to my vehicle, it was gone. I waited again that day for over 45 minutes. Now granted, that was not necessarily an attack against me, but you wanna know that you've got help. Either incident, 45 minutes is a long time to wait.
What years are you talking about? How long ago was this?
I would have to check the police report. I'm gonna say probably 3 to 4 years ago. It'll be on record somewhere within the police department or sheriff's department because they're the ones that came out. But basically, when we moved police response time for people that's not residing in this town, I think it was a big mistake. I think having a police officer that resides within a response time is paramount. I mean, same way with EMS. That was my heartbeat. There would be no way that you would expect to save anybody 45 minutes out. So then having this drug problem in this town, I know you guys have a drug and alcohol policy on your books. But I think you guys should review that policy. And kind of put it out there, whoever you're gonna hire, you're just gonna do random drug screening. You know, I'd like to see you guys do that, for all employees. And not only that, but you're gonna show the village that you care, you know, about the drug, epidemic that's apparent throughout our village. So, that's just my concerns.
Okay, appreciate it.
No problem, thank you.
Can I just make one legal
Sure.
question? Just so you all know, you cannot require a policeman or Chief Melissa to live in the village itself. The Ohio Supreme Court has said we can't do that, probably about 5 to 7 years ago. So, just so you know, that's just a legal comment.
Okay, is that it for public comment? Okay, we'll move into financial budget and audit. So, pretty much.
We would do this ordinance and stuff, all these changes at a later date when we do all the ordinances, because that's gonna affect this,
Yes, no, yeah, we'll do that later.
okay? Because that's basically affects that one ordinance.
Anybody got any questions for Scott? Police, Brandon?
I have nothing to report.
Fireman?
Mikey?
We only had 6 runs for the month, which is kind of down, which is a good thing.
You want us to go start something?
No.
Okay.
I talked to W. Williams, who was repairing our engine 61. I talked to him Friday. He planned on having the pump back together Friday afternoon or so, and then pump test it today. They actually tried pump testing it this morning. However, the pressure relief valve is seized up on it. So, with me talking to him on Friday, he told me that there's some good things that was good with the pump, and there were some bad things with the pump when he was rebuilding it. So we're actually under the estimate. We were under the estimate, but since we have to have the pressure relief valve, you know, I kinda talked to John briefly about it, and it's, you know, why bring back a half broken truck? I mean, so
It's gotta be fixed.
he said he could fix it for the same, there would be no price change, so.
That's nice.
It's only gonna take a little bit longer, so I gotta call him back tomorrow.
That'll be resolved.
Yeah,
We'll
yep,
see what
try to
we-
get that, yes, yep. So I'm not sure exactly, I mean, I'll let you guys know or whatever, as soon as I find out exactly when we get back, but he said everything else looked fine, the housing looked all good, everything looked good on it, except for that pressure relief valve, you had to have that on there in order to test the pumps. Then we just had our Cascade air quality check done. Air bottles are being hydroed. The only bad thing about air bottles is we've got probably 10 or 15 that are gonna be out of life date for this year. So we're gonna try to figure out how we're gonna,
Do you have to get new ones or can you refill them?
every 15 years you have to get new ones,
Oh, okay.
so.
Or you refill them every year or just,
Now, we fill them every time we use them.
oh, okay,
Need some hydrostatic testing.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's a hydro, yep, yep.
Okay.
They drain them and test with water and they put air dry them.
okay.
So, and then I put down in a fire levy, we'd like to get together, I don't know how you guys wanna do that or what
Should
we
do
gotta
it
do,
pretty
but,
soon.
I think John told me that Julie said she'd come to one of our meetings, so if we needed to have, I don't know how you guys, if we need to be with all you guys, or if it just need to be with Scott or a couple guys, it doesn't matter, I'd like to set it up so we're not,
Well, we wanna.
because he said we had to have 3 months, or 3 months
Yeah.
reading, so we don't wanna wait till.
Renewal.
Yeah, we don't wanna wait till the last minute, so. So I'd like to set that up somehow, and however you guys wanna approach it, I'm not sure who has to be there, who wants to be there. Don't matter to me.
Just give me a call and we meet together or whatever.
Okay,
Get it taken care of.
I'll do everything through Scott, and he can let you guys know. Okay, we'll do that. And then we got denied the March radio grant for the fire marshal's office. But, Wood County and Hancock County, I think, got like $50,000 to $60,000 a piece there, so. But
what it is.
When can you resubmit?
Probably next year.
Next year?
Yeah. Fire marshal usually has like a yearly thing, so
No.
they just got denied.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions for Mike? Yeah, thanks, Mike.
So y'all ready for this weekend, for the party, or?
What?
This weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
They still have some tickets
We'll work
left.
on it. Yes, we still have a few tickets left. Yep.
Yes, anybody interested in buying a fire department reverse raffle ticket for $50, we'll see Mike, or you can call back here. I'll be glad to.
You're
help you out.
for me too.
Good meal and everything out to Old Zims. Clean up, Joyce.
Okay, I sent 4 letters, and they have until Monday before
Oh,
I
look at my chicken scratch.
sick the police on them.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, John?
Alright, for street department, the dump truck sold for $4,600. We had one bid, and KSI Home Buyers is who won the bid. Other than that, for street department, I've been trying to clean up this ditch line here along railroad tracks to get all that mess cleaned up out there. For the traffic light, we're trying to find a used mast. We've got the pole, but we're trying to find a used mast. It's gotta be 45 foot long to go across the intersection. And, we're trying to find a used one before we look at buying a new one, cause those are pretty expensive, so.
45 foot
I started changing oil and hydraulic filters and stuff on the equipment for summer. For water, we're gonna be rehabbing well number 3 this year, here within the next couple months. Pump will be pulled and inspected, the casing will be cleaned and pumped off. And in the process of that, this old well house is gonna come down back here. There is actually still a turbine pump sitting on that old well. So, while the well driller's here, he's gonna pull that turbine pump and abandon that well properly for us. Water sewer billing program. Originally, we had an estimate from CMI, I believe is an outfit that does carries and a couple other small entities around here. The original price they had given me a year ago was $30,000. Now the girl that had come here and done that program for us and everything is no longer there. The new guy stopped in and he said a standalone server just to operate that outfit is between $5,000 and $6,000. The program itself is about $14,000. So, he just called like at 5 o'clock tonight and left a message, so I'll have to get back with him tomorrow and get some more information on that. Once again, I was trying to hold off until we found out what was going on with what we were gonna have to do to have all of our documents available online. If we're gonna have to have a server for that also, but, we really need to get a new program on that billing system. Sewer, I'm waiting on a couple estimates for manhole replacement. I wanna make sure that that $12,000 estimate is a good estimate. Been working on cleaning at the plant. We are running on one half of the plant right now, so trying to get the empty half cleaned out, and then we'll transfer over and clean everything on the other side, before our UV stuff goes in, and that's when they really start coming down on the testing, so. Trees, he was supposed to be, the tree trimmer was supposed to get with me about the one on State Street that we discussed at the last meeting. He's gonna try and get in here next week. We've got one behind that, Marathon in an alley back there that's got the, alley all heaved up. And, there's a couple at the park in the play area that should come down, dead ash trees.
Yeah.
Wanna make sure I said. And there's a couple of those at the cemetery also that should really come down before they fall into the cemetery and bust a bunch of headstones. So, he's gonna get me estimates on those other ones when he comes into town to, get that one on State done. But other than that, that's all that I have. I'm not asking for anything this month.
Good. Did enough.
Anybody have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, Park, Sam, you have anything?
From 30,000 down to 20,000? The billing system, the system that we do bill off.
I wanna make sure that we're still okay to put that,
We're looking at getting.
course out there for the pinball,
Paintball.
paintball and airsoft.
But what you
Okay.
said was a year ago.
I'm gonna start,
30,000, but now
trying to get it,
20.
Well, she was.
donations and stuff to set up that course.
Originally from the-
And then the other thing, thought about maybe having,
Overselling it.
like a movie night or something out at the park for the community.
Okay.
You know, while people are there, maybe get donations to go towards the park for stuff to get fixed and that stuff. But that's pretty much all.
Okay.
And I'll be, probably reaching out to like the churches and schools about a cleanup day at the park here, probably within the next month or so.
Okay,
So, but that's pretty much all I got right now.
okay.
Sounds good, thank you.
Right.
Zoning, Scott?
It's quiet yet, nobody's been, you know,
Nobody's putting any swimming pools up.
Okay. On the old business. This is gonna be ordinance 2017-01, delinquent and uncollectible properties, third reading. It's an ordinance signifying 3 assessments on parcel numbers, from the years 2012, 2014, 2015 as uncollectible and to be removed from the books for the village of Betsville, Ohio, and declare an emergency. Well, we don't have to declare an emergency, but this will be the third and final reading.
So I need a motion to adopt as presented by.
I'll make a motion to adopt as presented.
I'll second it.
Scott,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yep.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2017-02 for policy on blanket certificates. This is the third and final reading for that. And we did put the money of 10,000 in there, wasn't it?
50,000.
50,000, okay.
Motion to adopt.
An ordinance establishes a policy on blanket certificates pursuant and in conjunction with ORC 5705.41D that said certificates not exceeding a certain sum of money of $50,000 against any specific line item account not run beyond the end of the current fiscal year in the village of Betsville, Ohio. Okay, we need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Okay, 2017-03. An ordinance establishing policy deposits not exceeding $1,000 can be held up to 3 business days before deposit in the village of Betsville, Ohio. And that's the third and final reading.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second it.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Next one is ordinance 2017-04 to rehire the magistrate. In order to rehire magistrate Thomas McDermott as magistrate for night court and establishing a rate of pay for $125 per session attended by the magistrate for the village of Betsville, Ohio. And this is the third and final reading.
Can I make a motion?
I'll second it.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Rob,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Hey Gary, can I ask a question on that? In my audit reports, it says he's getting $900 a year.
It's it's always been $125 a year.
I know, but on the audit, it
Per
says
me,
he's getting
per
900.
meeting, and it's only, it's only once a month, so,
Well, it does say 900 a year.
where does it say that at?
Some of my audit reports I got.
That may have been how much you received last year, because when we haven't had business, he hasn't come in and charged.
It said per year. And Linda Davis is making $3,600 per year.
I do know the ordinance for Magistrate McDermott says he's paid per session.
Well, I just know I have that paper.
I'm sorry?
I have that paper.
Okay. And if you multiplied that by 12, it would be more, so I would think the difference, and I don't know why the auditor said per year, but
That's
I
what they
do,
got from here.
but I do know our ordinance, what our ordinance says.
Yeah, this
And so
ordinance
when-
always said that.
Well, it came from the village of Bettsville.
Well, I mean, it varies, because if we don't have court in a month, that's $125 off and that, and it's very possible that when we was audited, we didn't have that many court nights. Not every month we have one.
Well, it said Linda Davis gets $3,600 a year.
Well, that's
That's a separate issue.
a separate issue.
That's a
That has
separate
nothing to
issue.
do with the magistrate court.
Yes,
I mean,
that's-
it has, she's the
Okay,
clerk.
I didn't know if you were aware of it or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, 2016, 14 amendment for the third reading. Amendment to resolution 2016-14, 2017 budget. No, council members have to sign this, but we'll have to, you have to go ahead and okay it, because it's the third and final reading.
So you're on the 14, right?
2016-14.
Should I make a motion?
Oh, when somebody
Yeah,
needs to
I'll make a
make a
motion on
I'll second it.
Joyce,
that. Yeah.
Scott,
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Give my senator running, and I'll sign it. Here, anyway.
That's all your, what's the other ones we need to do?
Here, the permanent ones, and I got,
Got a copy of that one or not?
yeah. We're going to, for the sake of moving things on, we're going to go to new business right now, and then we'll go back to the police department, and so we'll just spend some time on it. Under new business, ordinance to, ordinance 2017-05 is an ordinance accepting the attached permanent appropriations for the fiscal year 2017 and declaring an emergency.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second it.
Scott,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yeah.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency.
I will.
Second.
Sorry.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Rob,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion to adopt is presented by.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Scott,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yep.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2017-06 is an ordinance to adopt the Ohio Basic Code for 2017.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yep.
Stan,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency?
I will.
I'll second.
Joyce?
Yep.
Rob,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes.
Motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second. Bill seconds it.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
And under new business, there's a public records training on 4/7, April 7th, in Tiffin. We need to have 2 members go to that.
What was the date?
April 7th.
It's a Friday.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll probably be going. That's the first I heard of the date, so I'm not sure yet, but I probably will.
And I'll probably go too, but, you gonna go, Scott?
I can't.
They're all working. They can go.
You're working, okay. I'll go and I'll put you question
Yeah,
mark, okay?
probably will. Have to look.
Harry, who's our designated public records officer then? Gonna be out of those who go?
We just have to, we have to do that now?
No, but you'll need to choose one.
You
Okay,
need to choose one.
okay.
Isn't that person obligated to come back and kind of convey information?
And kind of lead the charge.
Mhm.
Right. Did Angela do it last year?
Yeah.
Was it-
Angela and I did it, and he was there.
Yeah. Did we have any formal coming back and disseminating that information to the rest of the council? Isn't that, they're obligated to do that, I think, aren't they? The designated person?
I don't think-
They'll answer the questions and they're
Yeah,
doing it on
everybody.
behalf of everyone else, but usually Angela calls me if she has a question and I can decide that anybody can call me here with the question.
Okay.
Or, village employees ask me questions too. But they want the designated person, which is good.
Right.
Got an email from John DeVoley. They're having their, NORCOG, annual meeting. And he said, please share this invitation with your council members and staff. It's on March 17th at 8:30 a.m. It's a breakfast meeting.
Where's that at?
It'll be at the the old Kroger store.
Oh,
in
the old
Tiffin,
Kroger store in
yeah.
Tiffin, okay.
It's the 5th annual meeting in North Central Ohio Regional Council of Governments. 8 o'clock's the breakfast buffet. The meeting starts at 9 o'clock. 9:15, we have 3 speakers: State Rep Bill Reineke, Seneca County Commissioner Shane Thomas and Mayor Aaron Motts. And then 9:45 questions and wrap up, 10 o'clock adjournment. You got a RSVP to Kelly Holman by Friday, March 10th. And the number is 419-447-2927. Wanted to bring that up to y'all. Anybody got anything else under new business?
Gary, could you give me that number again, please? Oh, never mind, I got it, thanks.
Do you have it? 'Cause it said for console and staff.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know if it's open to the public. Anybody got anything else on new business? If not, we'll go back to old business and go into the police department. Stan, you wanted a few minutes to say something?
Yeah, now it's good, I can do that now. I want to do us all a favor and read directly from my notes. It'll keep me on track and keep my remarks brief and express my official stance on the future of the Bettsville Police Department. I'll be referring to 5 times in my notes here. I'll be referring to the special meeting of the 21st. And I kind of listened to it twice and made highlights of those things. So I've got copies here if anybody of council wants it. Excuse me. On that meeting, or during that meeting on the 21st, Councilman Toy expressed several good points, questions, and ideas. And as we discussed them, along with related ideas, I came to the conclusion, just my perception, that most of us on council are leaning toward a contract with the Seneca County Sheriff's Office for Bettsville's law enforcement. I, for one, and maybe the only one, believe without reservation that the village of Bettsville will benefit much more when we decide to build our current police department to the level required to provide the very best safety and security we can offer as a village council. The village residents, business owners, our families, and friends deserve nothing less. And we as village council are obligated to provide nothing less. For that reason, and after much thought and consideration, and actually with a lot of consultation between several parties, both current and potential, I suggest that we immediately hire 2 part-time officers who will easily and successfully fill both many of the open shifts that we desire, when we talked about the shifts that we think desperately need covered. And these 2 individuals will also provide true leadership to any and all additional officers hired afterward. I attended a village council meeting at Bloomdale, Ohio this past Tuesday evening, and in speaking with Bloomdale's village council and chief of police, I learned that they operate with 1 full-time officer and between 3 to 7 part-time officers. It varies a little bit. They've been doing that now for a couple of years and have found success in doing so within a budget of less than $60,000. One particular concern stated in the February 21st meeting, my notes here, one particular concern stated was the fact that the turnover of personnel has always been a problem. Both of the individuals whom I believe we as council should strongly consider for immediate hire have full-time day jobs. They do not anticipate leaving those day jobs, and although there is no guarantee of any specific length of time they will serve Bettsville, neither of them have any plan whatsoever in leaving their current day job away from law enforcement. This fact alone addresses and solves more than one concern stated during our last meeting, these concerns here. Both Nicholas Baker and Sean Beckley already have rapport established within the Bettsville community and the school,
In fact, Mr. Baker's family is intimately involved with the Old Fort school system. Nick not only knows the children within the school system, but most of their parents and even many of their grandparents. Baker's family homestead was established in 1829 and still stands today just out the creek road. Both Officer Baker and Beckley are well respected throughout Northwest Ohio within the law enforcement community. It should be well noted at this point that after careful forethought on my part, I approached them. They didn't come to me, I approached them. And it actually took some discussion for them to confirm that with the right conditions, they would look forward to helping build a stronger, safer village from this point forward. Both of them are currently working part-time with other Northwest Ohio law enforcement locales, and again, I approached them. Should this outlined idea not be council's choice, both Baker and Beckley plan to continue in their long-standing full-time day jobs in IT with companies they work for, and serve law enforcement in other than Bettsville areas as they both do right now. There are details to be worked out, but this near-perfect arrangement can be accomplished within weeks and not months, as any other option I've seen would require. Having said all this, I propose that council strongly consider the hire of both Beckley and Baker and meet with them as soon as possible to discuss potential employment agreement. They are both interested in speaking with village council. If we as council believe that safety and security of our village is paramount, as we've stated, in fact, it's the #1 thing up here, if we truly believe that the safety and security of the village is paramount, I believe that this is the very best option available. Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
Okay. When you're saying Nick Baker and Beckley, don't you remember what happened with those
I
two
do.
just a few years ago?
I do. They both resigned.
They resigned because
Because.
they gave us ultimatums?
That's not the way I
Well,
interpreted
see,
it.
you should have.
I'm just saying, I didn't see it that way.
What was their automation?
That,
Wait a minute.
I would like to.
No.
No, you don't
guys
have
can
no
say
say
nothing
here.
right now.
Nick Baker insisted that we make Beckley
Sergeant.
sergeant, you know. And we said no. So they just said if they couldn't do it their way, they were gone.
Or no, I think they was
Kinda,
actually gonna
sorta.
make him a captain or something.
Yeah, captain,
Melissa
we wanna
was
make him a
already
captain,
sergeant.
yeah. And why would you go over there and recruit them before you even talk to anybody else?
Well, anybody else like who?
Yeah. Well, what's with our police around here now? With like with Melissa or?
I don't know, you're welcome to say what you want, this is my thoughts.
Yeah, well, go ahead. So,
Okay.
but I would have a problem with those two right off the bat, so you already have my vote, so.
But isn't it what we're worried about?
Rosemary, there's no public comments over with, okay?
This was council issue.
This is council
Council
issues
issues.
right now only.
So,
You had something to say, Scott?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of goes back, I mean, I understand Stan's point, and we've been having this discussion, this has been going on for a while. And it really comes down to, you know, being fair to the policemen as well, I mean, giving them a fair wage and all that stuff, because $9 or $10 an hour or whatever, it's not a living wage, and then, so we need to kind of figure out a solution to that. And my honest opinion is just moving toward the sheriff, because, for a lot of different reasons. And, some of it's cost, but some of it's just practicality and how we handle that as well. So I think it's, some of the communities are going away, we talked to Sean Thomas, the commissioner's open to it, so the sheriff's open to it, the commissioner open to it. So I think, from my perspective, from the financial, looking at it, and the liquidation of some of the assets and the liabilities and all that other stuff, and having, you know, kids coming out of school, not really truly trained, we don't have a mentor for them to go underneath. I think it's a risk that, you know, we're vulnerable, because if you go back a little bit of history, not too far ago, they had some issues where we had somebody made some bad decisions and cost a ton of money. So I don't think we can go down that path again, because you have people that are untrained, and we can't afford to pay them a good working wage with benefits and all that stuff. And I think having a contract is a county and the sheriff issue. from my perspective, I think that's a good way to go to, because I think we can manage contracts better. That's my
And-
position.
Okay, let me just say, I did get I think we all got a copy of the letter
Why don't you
that I
read it,
gave
Gary?
Sheriff Eccleberry. Mayor, per our conversation, duty hours at the village contracts with the Seneca County Sheriff's Office to provide law enforcement. The schedule we would formulate would have the deputy assigned to the village working various shifts, meaning days, afternoons, and late into the morning, per our union contract. They will have 2 days off together each week, so, like 2 days in a row. But just to show you that it would alternate hours. It wouldn't be the same, it wouldn't be all days or all afternoons or all nights.
It's similar to the coverage we got right now.
Yeah, I think that's with their contract, you know, that's it. And as far as the salary for the 30 hours per week at $55,246.36. These numbers that I'm giving you here are the very top of the scale. It would never go over that. It could, if another deputy volunteered for it, it could be less money. 55,246.36. That's for 30 hours. 40 hours per week would be $73,661.81. I'm just throwing these out. This is what we did find out, and this is it. And the contract could be whatever we wanted it to be.
I mean, I think.
For 5 years, could be for a year, could be whatever. He's willing to go with whatever. And these are the facts that I found, and I mean, it's up to you guys to figure out what you wanna do.
Well, I think it comes down to, is like, we had this discussion, special meeting, and I mean, this has been going on, it's not like it's something that hasn't happened, but we haven't been talking about for the last 6 months. We knew Brandon was leaving on, so it's not like we haven't had this issue on the table, so it's not like it should be new to the public, and it's not that we're not being secretive about it or anything. But I think we have to, as Stan said last meeting, we have to decide what direction we're gonna go. And I think once we decide the direction, then we gotta define the contract or whatever we decide to do, so we're all in agreement that's how we're gonna handle it. I mean, but we have to, we can't be sitting on the fence, we gotta move one way or another, right? So I think that's where we're at. So, that's my input.
Well, I want to, just from the testimony from some of our residents, I want to try to clear up a few things, because I think there's some misunderstanding. One, in our last monthly meeting, we stated very clearly that we could not resolve this at that meeting, and that we set a date for the 21st for a special meeting. By law, we have to state what that meeting was, and it was announced that it would be for the police, and that's all we discussed. I also, from listening to some of the people talking, think they are under the misunderstanding that these sheriff's deputies will be someplace in the county, and they would have to come here. For the hours that we're paying them, they will be here right inside the village. They won't be allowed to leave. And they're gonna work that amount of hours. Not all the time, okay, but they're gonna be here on site. So it's not like you're gonna have to wait 45 minutes if there's somebody on. And if we decide to stay with the Bettsville Police, the same thing's gonna happen. Okay, I mean, Melissa lives in Fremont, right? Green Springs. So, you know, and she's not gonna be tied to her house, I'm assuming, like most people, we have lives.
Right.
So there's no guarantee of any more rapid response from that on a specific incident than you would a sheriff's department. The sheriff's department, while they're here, they got a built-in backup if they need it. They're gonna work with their fellow sheriffs, deputies. Looking at our latest audit, last year, we covered the village of Bettsville on an average of 31.64 hours a week.
That's all we got last year. So far this year, according to this, I believe Brandon gave it to us, we've averaged 24.7 hours a week. That's less than what the sheriff's gonna deliver. So, if anything, it's gonna be a small but significant improvement. Okay, and that's if we stay with 30. Okay, our budget is based on 83,000. Now, we're not spending all that, but it's there in case they do need it. We will be doing this for 40 hours for 73,000. Okay, so we're talking about $10,000 less, and we're guaranteed to spend that money. But we're also guaranteed that we're gonna have 40 hours a week in town. Okay, those people, they're human beings. These aren't robots we're hiring. These people are going to adopt and acclimate to the village of Betsville, because it's the same person. It's not like it's gonna be a different sheriff every time. It's gonna be a designated sheriff. Okay, that's part of the agreement. So I just wanna make sure everybody understands that you're not gonna be waiting a long time for response time if they're in the village. And if you're waiting for response time, the same thing could happen with our own police. And the other thing you gotta consider, when you call 911, that goes in the county. It doesn't, there's no phone number in Betsville for the police. Never has been. Okay?
I thought there
They
was.
have, no, you can call the street department, but not
There's a
police.
non-emergency number, but not a.
There's a non-emergency. Okay, but so if they're not in that, if they're in a squad car, it's gonna go through the sheriff, and they're gonna get a hold of the Betsville police. If they're here, they're just getting a hold of the sheriff, they're right here. So I want you to understand that no matter which way we go, we're not putting the citizens of this village at risk. Any more one way or the other, okay?
Can I add something? Appreciate everything you've shared. I can't say that every hour and every day, of course not. But when I left Nick Baker's driveway the other day, I was in the village of Betsville inside of 90 seconds. He lives here, he knows virtually everyone in the area already. The sheriff's deputy, I'm wondering how long of a ramp-up time he's gonna even know the streets, let alone the people. It's gonna be at least all of this summer and into next year, I would guess.
You're saying Nick Baker works days, he isn't gonna be available days.
Other officers may be. Let me finish, please.
Okay, go ahead.
And as far as top dollar, both Nick and Sean do very well in the IT business at the companies they work for. Nick already told me they do not care about top dollar. Nick, believe it or not, if you knew him half as well as I do, I went to school with his dad and I've known his family for years. He says, I don't want top dollar, but I would like to see this community a lot better off. And he said, believe it or not, when I talked with him Sunday, he said, I'd probably donate a lot of time and not charge anything. But, he says, don't hold me to that. I'm just saying, I don't need top dollar. He and Sean and I kicked around some ideas and some budget, and they saw no reason that they, with additional officers, part-time officers, couldn't run a department with 2 part-time, he and Sean, Nick Baker, Sean Beckley, and a couple of other officers from time to time. They saw no reason they couldn't do it for less than $60,000 a year. No reason. Bloomville's already doing it at less than $60,000 a year. So, for whatever that's worth.
So what are they paying their officers?
In Bloomdale?
Bloomdale, where are we?
53,000.
What is it?
53,000
For their officers?
per year.
That sounds.
I don't think I brought those notes along. I'm not sure what they're
Yeah,
paying
yeah.
their part-time officers. I wanna say their officers are making between 9 and 10 an hour.
I
They're
just don't know
part-time
what they're
officers,
making
I
here.
believe, but I'm not sure.
Do you mean Bloomville in
Bloom-
Seneca
Bloomdale.
County?
No.
Bloomdale?
Bloomdale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wood County, sir.
Couple things. One, all that
and I'm not saying it's a bad idea, Stan, I'm just saying it's a lot of speculation.
What speculation?
There's no certainty how long they'll work here, if they'll work here, the whole bit.
I'll give you a copy of this.
No, listen, hear me out. We know what it's gonna cost the sheriff.
Right.
It's in a contract, they can't change it. The other thing, 4 years ago, when we did have that incident in these council chambers, I know for at least 4 or 5 councilmen, it was very, very uncomfortable. It was very hard to manage. And if people remember the council meeting, that is one of the points I brought up, is that we don't have to manage that anymore. We don't have to worry about blow up and a lot of personnel issues that just took this council right down the tubes for like 2 months. And how much money did we spend to defend ourselves? About $6,000 went out of the pocket of this community just to prove that we didn't do anything wrong. So I'm certainly not wouldn't entertain hiring those same individuals again, based on the past performance.
Yes.
That's my personal opinion.
As I saw it, and I was here, all of those meetings, recording when the desk was up there, my understanding was that council chose to spend that $6,000 to hire an independent attorney and come in and do all this investigation. It wasn't you were defending yourselves against anything.
Well, that's.
I wasn't on council at that time. But you chose to spend
As
$6,000.
I remember, when that happened, you were sitting on that side of that council with those officers.
I was standing at the counter, I was not on.
Right there, side by side with
Well, I
those
was
people.
standing at the counter.
Yeah, that's exactly where you're at, right next to those people.
What's that prove?
And it doesn't prove anything, I'm not trying to prove anything, I'm just saying this is all a bad idea. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think this is a bad idea, so I guess we'll just have
That's
it.
fair. You're allowed that, you're allowed that. So,
I think the other thing we need to talk about too, it really comes down to training. You know, if you wanna have professional people dealing with the drug issues and all that stuff, they need to be trained properly. And so the sheriff's department, those people, they make more money to get trained, there's a recurring training programs like that, and that's managed and it's documented, and those people are managed by the sheriff. And I think it's important to understand that we have to have competent people doing what we want them to do. And it's important to have them trained properly, and because, you know, litigation is a big issue if you do things wrong.
Everybody's suing everybody.
Yeah, so it's a big thing, it's gotta be done right, so we gotta make sure that they follow the law, they do what's right, and make the case correctly so that Rick and them guys can, you know, defend the village or whatever they gotta do, that's what's gotta be done right, that's the way I look at it, so.
the other thing you gotta look at is the finances in this community.
Yes.
Okay, we're at 500, correct me if I'm wrong, 550 people, somewhere around there, and we're losing people. Okay, so whenever you lose people, you lose taxpayers. Okay, and it's not looking to improve. Okay, so the idea of having a bigger, better police department probably will not be within our means. Okay, and if we don't do it today, we may find ourselves in the same spot 2 years from now, talking how we can't afford anything. And I don't wanna get to that point. So, as the young lady said, we're sitting here trying to do the best for the village, and that's all we're trying to do. Nothing in it for us, we're just trying to do the right thing. And there's difference of opinion, and that's what democracy is about. You have differences of opinion, so.
We have our families here, so I mean, we want ours protected just as well as you want yours protected.
For what it's worth, I'd like to get, I guess the camera can pick it up. 30 hours a week to me is not near enough coverage.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if we're gonna go to 40, that's 73,000. So now you're talking about the money we can't spend. I'm telling you, it can be done for less than 60.
And unless you prove that to me in black and white, I'd have to think that's suspect.
We aren't gonna have a car, we aren't gonna have gas, we
And
aren't
we're
gonna
not
have
even
this.
talking about the upkeep of the cruisers or any of this.
Yeah, all that stuff's gotta be replaced in their future, it's gonna be
Yes.
amortized, I mean, there's a lot of incurred costs, it's not even part of this.
That we will not be responsible for anymore.
I guess if we are going this way, this is far from a contract. There's nothing definitive, there's no details
The contract will
whatsoever.
be drawn up with
I mean,
the
the point of
county
the direction.
prosecutor will draw that up for all of them.
Yeah, this is a point of direction. We're at the point, we said last meeting,
This is
we gotta make a
some of the
decision what
stuff we
direction we're
wanted
gonna
me to
go,
find out.
and then put the structure together to make it all work. I mean,
But I don't understand how we can go that direction when we know next to nothing about what the sheriff's gonna do. This letter says if you have questions, call me.
Well, no, you asked me to find out if the hours was flexible. This is what we found out, that it was
So-
flexible. Yeah, I mean, we can have the county draw up a contract, and, I mean,
Work out all the
we wouldn't
details.
sign anything until we had everything black and white in front of us anyhow. I mean, that'd be crazy. I mean, we're not voting that we're gonna do this. We have to see the contract too. I mean, we ain't gonna vote on it, say, yeah, we're going with them, and then don't agree with the contract. That'd be dumb.
Bill, what do you got to say? What's your view?
To me, I'm there for the sheriff. I mean, I know he brought up that they don't know the streets, but it don't take long to know the streets in town. It ain't that big.
And I bet you anything, they know the street.
Yeah. And, you know, they got a system in their cars that when they get a call, it pops up the address and, like a GPS, and boom, they're right there. So I don't think that's a big issue. And when they stayed response time for out, most of those, they said happened, we still had our police department. So it still fell.
Right, it fell through the cracks, yeah. I agree with that, because that was all for us, and it comes down to, we didn't have enough manpower then.
Yeah.
So, and there's no way we can afford 24/7, there's no way we can afford all that stuff, so, you know, it's just, by law, we have to have a constable, or we have to have some kind of a system, because of the way the laws, the highway code is, we have to have that, so we have to manage some kind of a police department, one way or another, we can do by contract or whatever, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think, when you look at all the pieces, I think going towards the sheriff is my direction as well, so. Again, you have to put the contract together, but I mean, we have to kind of decide which way we're gonna go, and then we put the focus there, and that's, you know, and the follow-up will be what it is, but I think we have to do what's right in our own mind, because we're all living in this community, and we all have the same issues, but at the end of the day, you know, the world's changing, and, you know, and we don't have any economic growth, we don't have any big businesses coming in or anything, like you said, tax base, there's nothing else for us to get any more money. We all can agree that probably gonna get cut more and more from the state as, because they're having the same issues. If you're talking, they're listening on the radio and they're talking about their budgets, they're having the same issues coming up with money and all that stuff as well. So as far as getting money down to small villages and stuff is gonna be getting pretty hard. And again, we're paying taxes, like, you know, and Dan's right, we're all paying taxes to the county. So at the end of the day, they gotta support us as well. So we have what service we pay for, then the county can fill in the blanks, you know, when we don't have, when their service is not here, the county can take the responsibility for it as well, as they do now, so. So I don't think it really changes that structure much more, it's just, you know, the personnel and the other costs incurred that we deal with from, you know, month to month. From our own organization.
I had asked this at an earlier meeting, I'll ask it one more time, and is there any other village or town or entity in Seneca County that's currently doing this with the sheriff, in Seneca County? I think the answer is no.
No, but New Regal is entertaining the idea also.
Yeah.
That's all that I
think
know.
Attica is too, isn't it?
No,
I don't believe
No.
Attica is, but I was told by someone in the sheriff's office that New Regal is entertaining the idea also, but.
It's not in Seneca County, but Bluffton, Ohio, tried this with their county, and they got so fed up with it, they canceled the contract, because their complaint was that their assigned sheriff's deputy was called off site too many times in that joint, we gotta help. He might have been traveling the streets of Bluffton, but he got a call somewhere else, I gotta run. They said he did that over half the time, and they just got fed up with
And
it.
the sheriff told me that would not happen, he said unless it was a humongous emergency, that he would ever get called out of town.
I'll ask you a question then, based on that. If we contract for 40 hours a week, whether they're called off or not, they still got to fulfill 40 hours a week, so they gotta come back and make it up.
Right.
And since it's random,
Could I ask Rick a question? If council decides to go with the sheriff's office this evening, that's not necessarily saying that the police department here is disbanded immediately and that's the only route, correct? All that's saying is that they're entertaining a contract with the sheriff's office.
Correct.
Am I right with that?
If you're asking me, well, I mean, obviously, the police department's not disbanded immediately. If my instructions from council are to go to the sheriff and then also work with the county prosecutor to develop a contract and to bring it back, that doesn't mean the police department is automatically disbanded, but obviously, that's where the budget would be going towards the contract. That would be eventual. I've talked to
I
the
guess
deputy director of OPATA, the Officer Police Training Commission. She works with the Ohio Attorney General's office. There would be, she had told me, and I brought that here. The officers, and Brandon would know this also, notice of peace officer separation of service, so they can always contact it, so that when an officer is going somewhere else to be hired, they've got a basis with the Attorney General's office. She also said the records would be become part of the village records and be part of our keeping them for Ohio Historical Society purposes. But I would also then need to come back to council, also have an executive session to discuss terms of the contract in council, because you don't show your cards in negotiation. But also then you can't vote on anything in executive session, and then we would also need to eventually vote, which I would think would mean another special meeting. I don't know how long it would take, and I'm not gonna divulge what I'm doing for other villages. I'm not going to do that.
Right, and you're not expected to. I was just, I guess, plain and simple, they decide to go with the sheriff's office tonight. What if they cannot come to terms on a contract?
No, I think your decision tonight is if you are going to entertain that, then I would have council vote to have me then enter into negotiations with the sheriff and the county prosecutor who represents the sheriff's office civilly, and see if we could come up with a contract that would be presented to the village that would be acceptable with the sheriff, and of course the county prosecutor's office. The sheriff is always readily available to me, and so is the county prosecutor's office. That's not an issue as far as I'm concerned. But I would have to come back, and then council can look at the terms. And if council wants to accept it, they can accept it. If they don't, they don't. You're still gonna have a wrap-up period if you do accept it. If you don't, you still have a police department functioning. So that's all political decision. I'm just describing process here, folks.
I was just curious, thank you.
Can I ask a question, real quick? So if we decide to go with the sheriff's department, that means we're gonna get rid of our magistrate and the others?
Yes,
Yeah, save money?
the answer is
Yes.
the
That
sheriff
means-
is not gonna have a night court here. I
Okay,
think the
but
purpose
then-
for night court has been because when we have part-time officers, I drag in my other function, daytime job, I drag them down to court a lot, and it's been problematic for people to miss their part-time jobs to come down for a ticket in
Well, right,
municipal court,
no, I
which
understand.
is, it's the unspoken reason why we've actually had night court. When I've had to do that for other villages and they have part-timers, they hated coming to
Oh, yeah.
municipal court and missing their part-time job, and that kind of affected things. That's the real reason for nighttime court. And unfortunately, for those who work with the nighttime court, it would mean the sheriff's office, and I already know this, the sheriff's office would not be having a nighttime court here. It would all go through Tiffin Municipal Court. They would still write under Ohio Basic Code.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't stuck my head in the sand. I have, so that's what that's all about.
Okay, I was just kinda wondering if,
That
Do
we
that.
would still have to, if night court is terminated, I've done this in another village before, we still need the magistrate to sign orders, we still need our clerk to do the wrap-up, and the final papers would have to be submitted at the end of 2017, unless, it could be done at a half-time, most of the paperwork. But there's a lot of work involved with that, and we would still need our clerk and our magistrate to do the wrap-up with that.
For how long?
Actually,
For-
I haven't had a nighttime court this year yet, though.
okay,
So-
so then you're saying maybe a couple months, 3 months, 6 months for them?
Well,
But
there's
since we didn't
usually,
have any court-
most of the work will probably be done by the summertime, and there's not a lot of work to be done, but there's an end of the year report too. There would be ordinances for village to pass as well, if that is the
Well,
intent.
yeah, I'm just,
And I did that for another village, and so did Linda, by the way, who's our clerk here. She was a clerk with another village that we had this at, and that is how we terminated that court.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, 'cause I mean,
I'm not saying one thing or another, I'm just telling you the mechanics of it.
there's a lot of cleanup, once you start down this path, I mean, you gotta resolve all those issues, as we all agree, so. So it's nothing's easy when you do a transition, there's always carryover and things you have to resolve.
Okay.
There's probably unemployment involved and all those other things that we have to understand those costs are, so. Okay.
Okay.
So,
So,
I think I wanna make a motion to move forward with putting together a contract with the sheriff's department and start putting the.
To enter negotiations
Start
and
the,
talk to them,
start
and bring it back to
negotiations,
council.
bring it back to council, and then we can look at the terms of agreement.
yeah,
And
maybe we
maybe tweak it if we
might-
have to, and come up with agreements, and then once we're, all
What
parties are.
I would simply ask, if you do that, that you also then be open to me, when I'm calling the mayor at some point, if it's done before next month, saying, we need a special
That's
meeting.
fine,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
yeah, we're open to all that stuff. But I think then we make a motion, I'll make a motion to enter into negotiations with the county prosecutor and the sheriff's department to put together a basic contract. Then we can bring the go to a special meeting, look at the data.
I'll second the motion.
Do you wanna decide on hours, 30 or 40 or 60 or whatever?
You're gonna need to, in order for me to talk
Yeah,
intelligently.
40 hours, I think we do
I
40
like
hours.
40, I would like to see 40 hours.
Yeah, we do 40 hours.
So we're talking $73,000.
Well, we'll see what the
That,
contract's.
that is if they send the highest paid one over here. It can be less. It will never be higher. It'll always be less. If somebody else would volunteer for it and he'd send them over there, it could be less. So,
And they use their own cruiser, their own gas and everything.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll see where the contract goes, and if we're all in agreement with the terms, and then we can make a final
And
decision.
then I guess this is probably what we should do in the first place is have Rick do the negotiation with that and so forth, and then come back to us, and then that's really gonna give us something to decide whether we keep or we don't keep.
Right.
Just so you all know, the sheriffs are on the clock when, and so is any other officer when I have them in court also. That's not volunteer
Yeah.
time for
I
them.
understand it.
So if, even if it's 40 hours, if we happen to spend, for whether a motion to suppress, a court trial, or jury trial,
Yes,
they're getting paid for that.
yes.
So that might count against the 40 hours?
Yeah, whether it's a village officer, whether it's a sheriff, just so you know.
It would have been any of them, right?
Yes.
We do right now, don't we? We pay our
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
have to go to court.
Well, yeah, we've avoided a lot of that with night
Yeah,
court.
okay.
Do we wanna recognize the gentleman for a minute? He's had his hand
Well, we
up.
got a motion on the table, so we
Yeah.
gotta finish the motion, so. The motion,
I
that
second
seconded
it.
it, so,
Okay, Scott,
yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Stan,
No.
Joyce,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay, so we will do that, but Bill, or,
That's fine.
I'll give you a second here, just, okay? I will.
Do you guys have anything, I gotta run, do you guys have anything for
No.
me?
No.
at this
No.
point?
No,
Okay.
Thank you for,
All right,
thank you
sorry.
for coming
Thank you.
tonight.
Excuse me, Gary, just a quick question. Do you know, has anybody even talked about when the time starts on the 40 or 30 hours? Does it start when they leave the sheriff's office headed here?
Good question.
Or when they get into town?
That's all part of the negotiating contract, we'll set that all up.
Yeah, it'll be in the contract.
We'll set up your contract.
We'll know that, okay?
I would assume that since their job is in the county,
They probably
that
just
it
come
would
right
start
here.
when they're here. I mean,
I'm
they're
sorry,
already-
Rob, I didn't hear you.
I would assume, I'm making an assumption now, this ain't, don't write this in stone, but since their job is in the county when they're not working for us, it wouldn't start until they're here.
We'll put the-
That's what we're gonna ask for.
We'll put in the terms of the contract,
Yeah.
we'll know what our position is, so.
Man, it's that cruiser, it's getting paid, it's under a union contract.
I would think that you'd have to pick up the cruiser at the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Well, most of them take them home.
Yeah, most of them have it all.
As soon as they start it up, they start getting paid. I know that.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We're working all that out.
Still better than what we got now.
Will, do you have something to say quick?
Sorry.
You don't have to come up, just,
Oh, that's fine, I'd rather have everybody, the thing that I'm saying here is that I understand the money, okay, I do, right? And in some places, there's not a lot of leeway. But as far as the contract, if I can make a suggestion, like most departments, okay, I would consider a one-year contract like a probationary period, because some departments hire somebody for 6 months, an actual department, and this is basically what this is. And some go as far as 1 year as a probationary period. If it seems to work, then we as a village should come together and do that. I'm not saying that I agree with you guys, but I'm saying what I have seen, what I've experienced, that's paramount. Because if we get stuck in signing a contract then for 5 years, even if you come with an out clause, right? You still haven't, you gotta go back to where you were.
an out clause.
Yeah, I mean, the probationary thing is a big deal. I mean, I've had some not so great experiences with that sheriff's office over there, but they've had several different sheriffs over the years in the last 10.
Which sheriff's office?
Seneca County.
They've
They've
had a lot,
got a
huh?
very good sheriff now.
That's debatable. That's really debatable.
Again, that's, everybody's got.
That's
opinions.
everybody.
You're right. And so that's my concern. If you guys wanna do that, I'm not gonna argue with you, I can't argue with you.
What's
Because you're
your-
trying to do what you're doing, but I would consider it like something like a 1 year probationary period type contract before you sign something that's more long-term. That's my thing. And understand, we've been able to get the numbers here tonight, that would have been more appropriate for everybody here to have a better understanding.
No, I don't think it would've made a difference.
Well, it's something to consider.
Because I do have the numbers, they said they could do it for less than 60.
They did, but the Bloomville budget itself, getting something from Bloomville is I think what these guys were more interested in overall. And the people here behind me would have been interested in having extra say, because you have Nagy over there who would have been able to say, look, this is what I spent last year, and we could have put that forward, and then somebody could have maybe said something, but I see where they're going. I don't agree with it, and I've had a recent experience that you're well aware of, that did not fare well. So, on that note, I'll leave it to you guys, and that's the thing, I would just want you to consider that.
Okay.
That's my consideration.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. It's probably not worth asking at this point, but if we can't come to an agreement, I guess I'm gonna ask with the sheriff's department, then what? I guess we'll cross that bridge if we come to it.
Well, I think
Then
we look
we'll
at the contract,
then
you
we'll go do,
know, what we gotta do, I mean, the issue comes down to, either way, we gotta hire somebody. So the issue comes down to what, then we'll have to go down through a vetting system and all that, so we get appropriate people. Cause I'm not gonna, I'll be upfront with you, I'm not gonna deal with Sean and Nick as well.
And Nick either.
Cause, you know,
And
they
they
were very
threw Melissa
unprofessional and I'm not
under
gonna
the
deal
bus,
with
if
that,
you
so.
remember.
What's the time period you're looking for, folks,
Well, I think,
with the sheriff's department?
I would like to.
or we'd like to see a contract as soon as possible, so we have it for next month's meeting.
Or a
So
special
just
meeting.
leave the time blank?
What, for
The
the
time
the
period.
length?
Right.
Yeah, you can leave it, cause he told me we could have anything we wanted, 1 year, 5 years, whatever we want. And I think, like Scott was thinking, if we did a 5-year, cause the sheriff's terms are 4 years, we'd at least be in with another sheriff.
Go
that
through
wouldn't
the election
cancel
cycle.
it, Yeah.
I mean, that's, but we also wanna have, we'll put some clauses in there for non-performance and all that stuff, we make sure we get those things in there. So we don't feel that they're meeting our needs or whatever, we'll have ourselves some outs, so we wanna make sure we.
Yeah, we have to have an outweigh.
Yeah, so,
So just leave the time period blank?
For now, yeah. I mean, because he told me we could make it anything, he'd be okay with whatever we wanted. If we wanted a year, if we wanted 5 years, whatever we want, he said, he's able to go with it.
Did the sheriff indicate that he has current staff that he can assign someone now, or does he have to hire an additional deputy?
No, he would, as soon as the contract was brought up and so forth, so, I mean, the commissioners have to approve it too.
That's what I mean, it's gonna be a long process.
Oh, it's gonna be,
Commissioners have to, okay, they might not even say he can hire another
Well,
deputy.
we talked to
They
Sean
already
already,
talked to
we
him.
talked to Sean already, so I mean,
we
he's
already
open to
talked
it,
to
so,
the commissioners.
you know, so, you know, they're open to it, because they think it's a benefit to the county as well,
Cause they
so.
said that's where it's gonna be, end up going for a lot of places.
The way it was explained to Gary and I when we met with the sheriff, which this was in the preliminary stages, but the way he explained it to us then is we would get someone with no less 3 years' experience and they would be hiring someone new for their force to train.
I think that's where we're at, so, I mean, start on this path and see what the terms are, and then we come to an agreement, and then we'll just, do what we gotta do.
Okay. Okay, so do we have any other business to bring up tonight? If not, well, we'll go for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,